growing up, I went to church with my family, like in elementary school, but it never was something other than to be seen going in. It was like a status symbol. It was nothing like, it wasn't a religious experience. It was a social experience. It was more like to be seen walking in and walking out, and that meant you were a good person. Didn't matter what you did outside or even inside. And so I kind of grew up with that mind frame. It's something you have to do, like if you're a good person.
So I, as a child, through probably sophomore year in high school, the only church experience I really had was vacation Bible school. Went to that every summer. My mom's family was kind of rejected from a Catholic church due to a divorce, and that gave her a bad taste of church, and didn't really want to have anything to do with it.
And then I had family members who were like vigilant, like they presented religion as very judgmental, and you had to be perfect in order to go to church. And if you crossed any lines, like the idea of grace was not present at all. So it always gave me a lot of anxiety, and then like a negative feeling about going to church, or like people who considered themselves even Christian, because it was painted with this really horrible idea, really horrible image in my own like experience in mind.
And then I went to college, and my neighbor in the dorm, he got me to go to a Bible study with him one night. And I went to it, and I really dug it, and I started talking to the people, and they needed somebody to play bass in their praise band because their bass player had just graduated, and I was like, I've dabbled with the bass, I'm not great, but I can do it. And then I joined their praise band, started getting really into it, hanging out outside of buildings at college just to like pray with people, and just like, oh, you look like you're down. Let me tell you a joke just to pick you up. I was baptized during that time period. And then I met this girl who was, not really all about church, but she gave it a little bit of try. But I knew God had a plan.
So I went through like high school and then went to college, just having more of like, I think it was mentioned in a sermon, like a seeker kind of thing. Like I felt drawn to religion, but then my logic side kind of like forced me out of it. Or I kind of checked myself, like rationalized, like no, I'm not, I don't judge people. I'm open to everything. I'm just going to take what I want from these things. It's a moral code. It's not something, that you have to go to church for. And then I met this crazy guy, like out of control guy. And got to know this person more, and never associated any sort of like Christian or religion with him, just wild and crazy and fun and wonderful. And then the more we got to know each other, I realized, wait, he just got baptized. He's like wildly religious. Like he took me to his little Bible study group, which I was like terrified by because they were going to ask me if I've accepted Jesus Christ as my savior. And I thought, don't talk to me, like, because I made fun of people like that for so long. So the more I got to know him, it changed my perspective of like what religion could mean or what it could look like. And then we quickly had Austin, and we started a family. And again, that kind of, I was embarrassed by the order of things, just because I had grown up thinking you have to get married, or knowing you should get married first and then have children. We didn't do it that way. So that kind of kept me away from the church, because I had that idea in my head that I couldn't go in because it was over. Like I was done. I already had a kid and I wasn't married, and I've already broken the rule. And So we raised Austin, religion or church, we didn't go to church. We moved out here, and no church gave us a feeling that we would be accepted. It was all like the same idea that I had grown up with.
And I'm a firm believer that if you have two people and they pray, they talk about God, you've got a church. So you don't have to go to a building that's designated as a church to have one. So for a long time, I was just like, I can pray with people. If I discuss it every once in a while at home, I've got my church.
Victor and Beth have always been a part, or Victor has always been a part of Dylan's life. And in school, knowing his past and what he's gone through, they came to us and said, we're going to this church. I'm okay, all right, Victor. And then we're consistently, like, we're going to this church. I think you guys would like it. It meets in the afternoon so you can go. And okay, sure. And we had friends who, from college, are like, you're not going to do that, right? Like, why would you ever want to do that? And you don't need to go to church and get judged. And so we held off. And then finally we had them watch our kids for a weekend. And Beth is like, we'll take them to church if you want. I mean, if it's okay, like if it's okay for you. And okay, sure. And we had a conversation, and we're like, if we send the kids and they like it, it won't be like we're forcing them into this church and dragging them in. If it's fun, if they like it, we'll try it. So we made a deal with Victor and Beth that if they like it, we'll try it.
And then the kids loved it. They absolutely loved it. They came home, couldn't stop talking about it, and we're like, well, I guess we're going to do this thing.
So they liked it, and we kind of had to, call ourselves on that deal and went, and we haven't really looked back at all. Like, we've just really felt welcomed, and it's kind of debunked the myth that I had that you have to be perfect to go to church. You have to have it together in order to go into the building, and a bunch of real people with their own problems and with their own issues, and with kids that are crazy and don't follow rules and will scream in the middle of church, and it's okay. And I just feel really welcomed in an area that I didn't feel welcomed before.
And it was exactly the church that we were looking for. The church gave us a community that we didn't have before. I literally had like 4 friends out here that I ever saw. And then I had my college buddies that we'd get together with my new job once every 6 months. And other than that, it was just us. Like, there was no community.
My 21-year-old self would be flipping out completely that I want to go to church, that I listen to Christian rock music on occasion. That freaks me out still a little bit. So I think it's been an interesting self-reflection time for me, and I was baptized as a baby, but I haven't been baptized since, and it's just been this interesting journey of wait a second, that's a choice. I grew up in a semi-Catholic Episcopal, so baptized as a baby, I'm done. So entering, getting this idea that I could wait, I have to choose that. I have to make that decision has been something that I've been really entertaining the idea of, or thinking about, or praying on even, which is not something I actively did by name. I always have done, but it was more of a self-thought, almost praying to myself, thinking to myself, oh, I should do this, or what's going to happen with this, but it gives it a direction, which has been a really surprising for me experience. It's been a really cool thing.